Even scientific studies have a bias. You got your facts, I got weight. But why if maybe a little crazy? Studying language AZ and everything between. English colonized lives, I won't settle for your dreams. Shuttle on the scene, I'm flying, I'm unidentified. Trying to give me titles, I flip the script like a Gemini. Aligned with the stars, yes, really I am a stronger being than Iron Man. Never mind the world, I got the iron hand. Never mind the money, you should see my palm. I could touch the world, atomic bomb style. You know life goes on, child. We've only been here for a long while. Starving and I'm walking down a long aisle. Everybody looking at me like I'm on trial. All cause my skin tone sound like wow. Sound like wow. It just sound like wow.
With what I know now, it's no wonder why these haters try to profile.
Sound like wow. It just sound like wow.
Wisdom of the womb in your ear right now, it just sound like wow.
Unk on my chest, a symbol of my success. I travel through time and mind, give this body a rest. I'll shotty the sheriff, no need to body the rest. Shells alter his chest, I'm just revolving the stress. Since we all plagued, I drop pearls of age. No equivalent wage, words stick to the pages of the sages. Written for some everyday kids. We grow old, you know they say we don't stay big. Tables turn, what's your response to how they live? It's getting late, we running out of time. Why I call it mankind if anybody gets left behind? Shout out to my mother, she's a great gift I find. All this greatness in line, sacred paradigm spinning in my mind. And it just sound like wow. It just sound like wow.
With what I know now, it's no wonder why these haters try to profile.
Sound like wow. It just sound like wow.
Wisdom of the womb in your ear right now, just sound like wow.
So walk 20 some grams from my sock. All I ask is please listen when I talk. I just hope to shift the coast when I drop. All I know is that the limit isn't my stop. On this road, how much collisions will I cops? Always on the mind, and if you're holding it down, pop, it can't hurt to ask right. The better man is never supposed to play the ass right. I could be the worst, I was pondering it last night. By a palm through an owl in a tree. A bit about me, not sure about what you see. I'm a real mother's son, not sure about what you be. Whatever will, I guess. On my worst day, I may reveal my best. So you can sell your soul, I will still invest to uplift the rest who are still oppressed. Sound like wow. It just sound like wow.
With what I know now, it's no wonder why these haters try to profile.
Sound like wow. It just sound like wow.
Wisdom of the womb in your ear right now, it just sound like wow.
Islam. Once again, Canaanland Mars Tuesday class, where we just talk about stuff. Islam to all the Moors worldwide, all the Moorish American Muslims worldwide. It's the 31st of October, you know. But before we deal with that, I want to make sure that we put something on the record, because one thing that we keep having to do is go back and correct things. There's always correction. We want to give supreme honors to all the ancestors today. all the ancestors from every single culture. We want to give honors to all the ancestors today. Conjure up the demons today, because it's a good day to bring them up. Make sure, right? Be the infidels and the pagans. They were onto something. That's why they were persecuted. They were onto something. Don't be like the people who chase the snakes out. Be like the snakes. Right? So honors to all the ancestors. All of them. None excluded. Anyone in the realm of the ancestors, honors today. I mean, make sure you have your candles lit and stuff like that. Send out the vibes. Of course, we want to give, honors to the ancestor for us. Right? Everybody's gonna get their honors, but don't be, don't get on the high horse. There's somebody on the high horse already. Right? Make sure you give your honors, especially today. So Noble Drew Ali, like we said, had the adepts around him. Some of the adepts took the info, went and did whatever. Some of the adepts took the info and added on to it. Right? One of those adepts was CMB. So we want to confirm some things using CMB since he was an adept or a student of Noble Drew Ali. So since he was a student of Noble Drew Ali, right, I'm going to check some things that he said just to see, because people have this thing about make it seem like CMB was some outcast of the Moorish Science Temple, or Drew Ali didn't like him or something like that. Again, to keep you away from the information that's going to save you. Majority of the things that you hear Moors that teach talk about, majority of the things are not practical for now. So now that you got the info, you can pass it on to people that's coming up, so they don't have to go through the BS. Forget us not going through the BS. We're in the BS. We were born into the BS. Right? So this man came as a student of Noble Drew Ali, put out certain stuff, and really shook the foundation of the entire movement, because he was one of the only adepts that really stuck to the program. So when he presented himself, they would yield. Now if everybody was where CMB was at, then we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. Now what does CMB tell the so-called Clock of Destiny, Circles of Mothers and Sons, Great Seal, anybody who repped him? This is what he taught them. That's because they might not put it out, because it's this stuff doesn't belong to everybody. Right? This is what he said. The Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs GSNAMA, is an active association or collective citizen body of conscious Moorish nationals, having in their possession valid and confirmed Moorish nationality and identification cards, who act or convene as a political body in accord with Moorish constitutional law and customs to address local, national, and international affairs and issues concerning the living Moorish nation. Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs, Moors, have at minimum, forget all the other stuff that you could have. At minimum, if you want to say, yeah, I'm Great Seal and stuff like that, you want to rep that? At minimum. The MST of a degree, a functional knowledge of the works of Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, the divine national Moorish movement of the world, including all general laws, temple order, customs, books, literature, symbols, etc. The foregoing status must be known by Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs active Great Seal members, must assure that all Moors are conscious of their national responsibilities. Structure and function of government must be understood. The people must support their government as their government is for their service. Telling you. But keep in mind, if it's created for your service, then everything else is on you. Because you're supposed to have the MSTA degree off the top. And that means all the stuff, just like you said, everything that comes with Moorish Science Temple, Moorish Divine National Movement, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, etc. All the stuff that comes with that should be already in you before you even say Great Seal. The Great Seal citizen membership requires the active knowledge of the Moorish constitution, living the Moorish life. The divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, right, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Science Temple of America, founded by Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, Noble Drew Ali. This constitution must be studied at law and spiritually. This constitution, divine constitution and bylaws, must be studied at law and spiritually. Remember, this is the base degree. Before you could learn about right to travel and trust and how to put your stuff in something so people don't steal your property and stuff like that, forget all that if you don't have this. All that other stuff you're listening to out here that you're more talking about is useless if you don't have what Noble Drew Ali brought you. This is basically what CMB is saying. Because when you look at what CMB brought, and he's in the Library of Congress and all that stuff, like, you know that he took it to level where you heard no Grand Sheik take it to them levels. All of them continue to want to be part and partial with the said government. That's not a government, that's really a corporation. So they're part and partial of a corporation. That's where they want to be at. Which is cool, you know what I mean? You have a right to contract, you're in your own land, you're Moors. But, you know, everybody can't look at them and say, hey, those guys are part and partial with the corporation. So all Moors, sorry about that. No, not all Moors, anything. Those Moors. MSTA Inc. and whoever else Moors. 500 Prophet Noble Drew Ali's reincarnated Moors. Those are the ones that are in the corporate stuff. Heard's revised statute Moors. Right? Deal with the Department of the Treasury and you know what I mean, try to prove something. They're going to validate something. Not validated anything. Especially if you're saying you're a Moor going in there. What are they validating if you're a Moor going to them? This is the divine science of government. Random tests of MHT of A. Random test of MHT of A. Just let that register instead of wondering, you know, who Supreme Council is or whatever. Where's MHT of A at? Remember, we're talking about somebody who was an adept that was around Noble Drew Ali, so he was privy to certain info. And things that he had as adept came with him when he said Clock of Destiny. It came with him when he said Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs. So MHT of A, go ask the Grand Sheiks and all them stuff, where's that at? And Moorish Science Temple of S. It's okay, so word is that Noble Drew Ali Canaanite Temple, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Science Temple of America. And then he's under a banner of Moorish Divine National Movement, under a banner of Moorish Nation. Now, CMB is coming out now and saying that the MHT of A, if you heard about MHT of A, put your hand up. What about you guys? No hands? No hands, huh? So there's some stuff that you want to go question some people. Still asking about some stupid stuff, pedophile stuff, and did they touch boys and stupid stuff like that. Always giving a way out for these people who subjugated your birthright, sold you to the highest bidder. Because who else are they going to go to? You already know. Everybody already knows the Moors sold their people into slavery and all that stuff. What Drew Ali say? It's your own. We're not against it. We know. I mean, we know that it's our own that sold us out. But not all of us are the sellouts. People who never ever mentioned to you, ever told you. You've been going to temple meetings and all that type of stuff. And it takes somebody outside of Moorish Science Temple that Moorish Science Temple tell you, don't listen to that guy or whatever, and then he's telling you about Moorish Holy Temple of America and Moorish Science Temple of Science. We are, remember this is CMB, who's an adept, who studied under Noble Drew Ali. We are part and parcel of this said government. How come you didn't say partial if Certain people are going to tell you divine constitution and bylaws and the act, Noble Drew Ali said, part and partial. Don't listen to the Moors because we're partial of the government and all that. How come he said partial? Now, so who am I going to go with? These clowns over here that have 50 reincarnated Noble Drew Alis, or CM Bay, who was an adept, student of Noble Drew Ali? I'm going to go with CM Bay before I go with any of these clowns. And anything, any documents they show or whatever like that, whatever. I don't even know what you guys got. So much stuff doctored over there. So much stuff doctored. Yeah, we give honors to the ancestors today. So, you know, if you have to put it in the air, put it in the air. Take 2 for CM Bay today. You got the wine poured out or whatever, give CM Bay 2. Because he shut all these people down, playing around with what Noble Drew Ali brought for the Moors. The things that CM Bay did, every single Grand Sheik was supposed to do. Because all of them were adepts. But they got jealous of the fame and nobility. They did their stuff. And again, the motto is uplifting fallen humanity. So, don't think we're getting out of this with all these Negroes out here playing games. Right? As a whole, we're not getting out. Whoever's going to be willing to sacrifice or whatever is going to make Moorish whatever be something. Whoever's willing to sacrifice, they're going to have a building. And they're going to have something Moorish there. Right? That's all it is right now. Because nothing else is coming. Nobody else is coming. It's either we're doing it or say goodbye. And leave the ones coming up behind with whatever it is that they get. Because lines been drawn in the sand. Right? 720, Elodio, active, we already know what it is. Right? They might be in clash just for energy purposes. Not learn per se. People who are oblivious, or who have a little something, heard something, and you know what I mean, they want to know, then okay, yeah, we can feed you. Trust you're leaving full when you come to our table. Yeah, and you're going to get your Tupperwares and stuff like that. You can take doggy bag stuff. Because that's just what it is. So, know that when you're Moorish Americans, Moors, M-U-U-R-M-O-O-R-M-O-R-E-M-A-H-R, whatever, it doesn't matter. Dark-skinned people that wear fezzes, turbans, or whatever, they got nationality cards, they know about their nationality and birthrights. That's who's going to make something happen with this. The ones who know what their nationality and birthrights are. And you know, the theme, the only way you're going to know is if you study. Doesn't matter. Like, there might be Moors who have books know that, yeah, we might have, you know what I mean, all these books all over. But when you really check the book, you probably got some pages out of it. Good book, but all I really wanted was to see it say that and to see them talk about that, and I'm good. Because, you know, this book's from 1800 or whatever like that, so that's enough confirmation. You know what I mean? You have some books where they just go in. You don't even have a choice in the matter of, you know, should I continue reading this? Because the information is just so vast. But you're only gonna get to experience the vastness if you study. You know. Right? That as the studying increases, you know, based on year or whatever, it might be only an hour a day that you need of studying to be wherever you're gonna be. You know, there are gonna be other people who they don't have enough time in the day to study because it just doesn't stop for them, regardless of where you're at. The whole point of studying is what CMB was saying. At law and spiritually. You're studying not just for the mundane. Like if you have a good book you're reading, whatever the book is, history, science, psychology, whatever, right? And you read something and you get the goosebumps or whatever. That has nothing to do with what's on the page. That's spiritually. That's you extracting something that somebody else prepared. It registers in your brain in a certain way that it's lasting to you. That is something that you can pull out, use for inspiration anytime just because it gave you the goosebumps. And you're never going to forget. That frame of mind is studying. So imagine that's all the time. Not just a one line, but a page. 4 pages. They just ripple all over just because. You're tapping in. Again, which is why Noble Drew Ali told the Moors. Did this man talk about, I'm going to give you the general laws or whatever. Don't think he's coming with some rolled up parchment, whatever like that's the laws. Everything man said is the law. Whatever he said, digest that. Guarantee it's going to manifest in some kind of way, shape, or form, or you're going to be able to use that in some way, shape, or form. Guaranteed. Just because. What's underlying his message is spirit. Ancestral voices. You know, why deal with, you know, Buddhism? Like, why even bring them up? Why bring up Confucius? Because there's stuff going on behind the veil that, you know, throwing up sand and it turned into soldiers, you know, that's not going to work for everything. Sometimes you need the ones from behind the veil to come forward. Hence, you know, our show today. Now, we want to give some honors. We want to give some honors because there were maybe 5 or 6 Halloween costumes that were like, okay, what are you on, right? What are you really on? You know what I mean? Where do you tap into to say that that's going to be your costume? You know what I mean? So we're going to go down the 6 that, you know, just going online, just searching or whatever like that. You know what I mean? Ones that stood out. So the first one is Jasmine, because sis just slaughtered this. And remember, we're talking about going back to the ancestral mindset. So it's not about, you know, she's following. She's pretending to be somebody from some BS. No, she's being herself. Right? Being herself. Okay? And then you just do your research on, you know, the quote-unquote black cowboys. Forget that we were Indians. How about we're cowboys too? Right? Now I was at the spot I was at today, the school I was at today. It was Halloween day or whatever. So the man who I work with, he was telling me about a European teacher one year. A European teacher one year who he thought, I mean, you know what I mean? It was, I don't know, but he said he's going to be the principal. And the principal was a brother or whatever. And she said, that dude there, he got it forever. He was like the outcast man of the school. Like nobody talked to him no more and all that. Because he did the blackface, right? So there's some good ones, you know, of course, you know what I mean? Anybody who says they're going to be Doctor Who or whatever, they're going to get the props, because if you say that you're Doctor Who, you have to put the fez on. You can't be the Doctor Who without the fez. That's not the real Doctor Who. That's a clone. The real Doctor Who got the fez on. Right? Come back to the thing. Honoring the ancestors. Right? Because remember, Doctor Who's alien. Now from Earth. Right? I don't even know who this dude is, but he went in on this one. He went in on this one. Oh yeah, I forgot these two. Hold on, let me just, cause you know I got the two we gotta do since they're killing us on YouTube. We gotta do the 2 cameras. We gotta do the 2 cameras. Since they're killing us. So yeah, so this man went in something crazy, you know, right? I mean, like, honoring the ancestors. You know, yeah, you could, you know what I mean, dress up like SpongeBob and some, you know what I mean, Jason mask and Freddy glove and all that BS. Or you could just take it on some next level, just because, you know, just because. You want to play? You guys want to play Halloween? Okay, let's play Halloween. And have some more. Do some serious ones. Now, this next one was so crazy. This one is crazy, right? This one is crazy. This one is supposed to be number 2. This one was supposed to be number 2, but it went 3 because it's Heidi Klum, and like everybody just talks about her, so she doesn't even need no props. But you know, she killed it with this one. You know, and of course, you know what I mean. Oh my God, he can't do that. That's the no, that's nothing. That's nothing. That's honoring the ancestors. For real, for real. Got the arms and everything. Right? The heads, everything. Went in on them. Europeans were mad when she came up. Mad. Let's go read all the stuff they wrote about her. Mad. Right? Of course we have to give it up. Number 2 was Chris, because, you know what I mean? I think, you know what I mean, like, it wasn't all him, you know what I'm saying? Because we already know how the Bayesian woman and them just go on. You already know. You already know. Right? You know what's up. So we're not even gonna hold it too hard against him, because, you know, he's been repping. You know, so, you know, they were saying that, you know, he was pretending to be Taliban or whatever. Everybody's mad. Oh my God, how could he do that? Why would he be that? You know, it was a crew of them, like, you know, there's the one born in the back, and then there was like some other pictures where, yo, Europeans mad. Yeah, if you put 2 for Chris Brown, yo, because Chris Brown's been rapping. But the number one, you have to give it up, because, you know what I mean? They paid their dues, you know what I'm saying? They paid their dues, but they were some of the first to really take a stand against this whole, you know, referee power in NBA. So we want to give it up to Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, who said, we're gonna rob that punk, right? We're gonna rob that punk. Right? So they played stick up on Crawford, who's that clown referee, you know what I mean, kicked Tim Duncan out the game because he was laughing at him and stuff like that. And these guys sent this all over the internet. They didn't care about if they were going to get fined or nothing like that. They didn't care. They said, forget that punk. This is what we're doing for Halloween. Took the picture, you know what I mean? They didn't care about nothing. You know what I mean? Because, you know, if, you know, this is threatening a ref and stuff like that. This is big fine in the NBA. Off court too. Got him in the stuff. Big fine. So big up to Mr. Fundamental, because I know that was his idea. Killing them. So if you find any more, you know what I mean, just send them over and we'll put them up. We'll put them up for next class. So so we're just gonna look at some perspectives, you know what I mean, of how, you know, this Halloween, whatever, people got their views, you know what I mean. We're gonna go from, you know, like, I guess, most exoteric perspective, and then into, you know, how it looks esoterically as far as this quote unquote holy day that they call holiday. So this is This is demonbuster.com. Right, so these are some Christians or whatever that they're on there, you know, this is an abomination and stuff like that to celebrate this, right? So, history of Halloween. October 31st, most important day of the Satanic year, known as the Devil's birthday, right? Then make sure you go out, just so you can scare people, just get the Devil's Dictionary, right? So, you know, just read this on the bus sometimes, see people's reactions and stuff. It is known as the Devil's birthday. It marks the Celtic New Year. It was the end of the growing season. It became the festival of death. On this day, the god of the Celtics was to have called up the spirits of the wicked dead who had died during the past year. On the 31st, the Celtics expected to be harassed by ghosts, evil spirits, and demons, and it was no fun and games to them. They would light bonfires to guide the spirits to their own town and ward off evil spirits. Right, so you already know, go get David McRitchie, Ancient and Modern Britons, right, to get the true perspective of these people, the Celtic people, right? Don't forget Boston, you know what I mean? That stuff, right? The Druids. The Celtics had priests called Druids. The Druids went from house to house, demanding certain foods, and all those who refused were cursed. Like, did they sprinkle them with something, or did they just tell, oh, you bastard, you don't want to give us no stuff? The people were tormented by means of magic, right? So again, David McRitchie, and also Asir the Duke of Tears. You go find out about who the Druids are. Remember, this is from the Christian perspective, so, you know what I mean? We already know that they're spooky. Anything scares them, you know what I mean? They don't want to sleep in a dark room, get a night light and stuff like that. You know, you saw things in the closet and all that stuff, right? So their perspective, just like our people about, you know what I mean, law or whatever, warp. Don't know what they're talking about, right? Going into the same fear mongering, right? Remember, they're putting this on the people who are, you know what I mean, in their little whatever. The Celtics and the Druids, and they were doing magic and they were all that. But then when you go do the stuff, the research, and you find out that, oh yeah, it's actually real, they were doing, but those people weren't some Europeans, like how they've been telling people. Those are really our people, right? Exercising their culture. Because, you know, in the time of our ancestors, there was no school of thought. Everybody was on one plane. You know, these guys onto this and these guys onto that, and then those guys are saying that their stuff isn't really there was none of that going on. Everybody was high scientists, high priests, metaphysicians, occultists, or whatever. When we were around, laymen started coming around when other people started coming around. Like even the low level whoever of the society had some type of knowledge. They weren't just a nobody, right? It's kind of like how, like you look at, you know, cab driver. Say, yeah, man, these hours suck, and you know what I mean, whatever, blah blah. But you know, it's something to do. Hey, what? Something to do, like. No, well, you know, I used to be a doctor, I used to be an engineer, I used to be a, psychoanalytic, whatever like that, and jobs. But I could do this. Same way. Don't be played. You're our ancestors. Our ancestors are being revered by these people on these holidays. Remember, they don't know what they have, what they're doing with it. Now you think about like Cadbury and whoever, all these people, Nestle and all these people, right? How they're raking in today. Like they're just raking it. They've been raking it. And all of that has to do with honor of our ancestors. And we don't want to recognize that, they can't jack the frequency. Because it's not their stuff. Right? Just like Drew. You can't jack the frequency. They can say it, but they can't really activate it. They say trick or treat. Trick. I've got no candy for you guys at the door. Do backflip or something like that. Show me something. Come knock my door. Trick every time. Every time. Trick. I don't got no treats for you. Because none of that stuff's not good for you. Then you get all that sugar. Tonight, wired all night. Trust me, we know. We used to steal people's candy. Have the three bags, garbage bags of candy. That was some Halloween. The stuff that people doing today, I ain't no Halloween. You're playing. You're joking around. Why? Because perspective. The reality is, you're not going to defend your bag of candy right there? Give me your candy. That's the reality of Halloween. What they got today? BS. Halloween was, oh, you got no candy? You're going to egg your house all night. Your house is getting egged. Just because you don't want to give up the bag. You see, look how we already looked behind you. We saw that the big bucket right there or whatever like that. You talk about you don't got no candy. Okay, fine. You're going to egg your stuff. Right? Sacrifices. These things happening several centuries before Christ, sacrifices were made to the gods, especially the god of death, Samhain. And then they bring in the god of death. Sacrifices all the way from vegetable to human were offered. This went on and on and on. In some parts of the world still goes on today. In the 8th century, the Pope, in an effort to get the people to quit the festival of Samhain, invented All Saints' Day, November 1st. This was an attempt to get the people to turn away from the horrible observance of Samhain. All Saints' Day was intended to honor the martyrs of the Roman persecutions. It did not work. It never works to Christianize a pagan holiday. The holy and the profane do not mix. Church involvement. This festival of death has survived all the efforts of the church to stamp it out. The church is joining the opposition by celebrating this festival. So the church said, forget this. All Saints' Day became All Hallows' Day. Hallow means holy or sacred. October 31st is the evening before All Hallows' Day, and came to be called in the Western world All Hallows Evening and then All Hallows E'en. E'en is an abbreviation for evening. Finally, the word was reduced to the way we have it today, Halloween. That's where the name came from, and even if it is called All Hallows Evening, it has nothing to do with Christian faith. The following was taken from the Pensacola News Journal, October 24th, 1994, in the children's section called Chalk Talk. Vocabulary: costume, K-A-S-T-O-O-M, the style of dress including accessories of a certain country, period, or profession. Druid, a member of a Celtic religious order in ancient Britain, Ireland, and France. Halloween, the evening of October 31st, which is followed by All Saints' Day. Samhain, the demonic god of death worshipped by the Druids. When and where did the customs that eventually evolved into Halloween begin? 300 years before Jesus was born, among a group of people called the Celtics who lived throughout the British Isles, Scandinavia, and Western Europe. A secret society of priests and pagans called Druids who served the demonic god of death. Each year, on October 31st, the Druids celebrated the eve of the Celtic New Year with the festival of Samhain. And then they start giving their people stuff to send to the editors of newspapers. I remember, this is a Christian people. They give letters to their followers for them to send to the editors of newspapers, right? Talking, against this whole idea of, the Druids, pagan stuff that people have adopted today. That's not Christian. And then they go to their Bible quote. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. 1 Samuel 15. Witches are for Halloween or for superstitious primitives in 17th century Salem. That seems to be the modern outlook, sophisticated skepticism, and a knowing smile when it comes to witchcraft. And yet Time's recent cover story would indicate that witchcraft is not a thing of the past. Satan is not dead. Young people by the thousands are probing seriously the mysteries of the other side, from seances to Satan worship. Leading universities report over-enrolled courses on witchcraft. Occult book sales have doubled in 3 years. Most high schools have their campus witch and warlocks. And occasionally, the headlines shatter our complacency with the terror of Manson-style violence. Halloween is celebrated by children. This issue is becoming debatable inside of Christian circles because of the rise of the occult in America. Witchcraft, Satanism revivals, and their obvious tie with pagan holidays causes Christians to question if the church should participate in Halloween. Children are in costumes and masks, with Halloween pumpkins of jack-o'-lanterns named for an ancient symbol of a damned soul, too long considered harmless fun and innocent pranks. Halloween is celebrated masquerading as church fundraising bazaars decorated with black cats and witches, skeletons, scarecrows, haunted houses, bats, vampires, and dummies in coffins. It should not be integrated with the holiness with the holiness of the sacred house of God. And the reality is, them bringing all that stuff in is what's making the place holy. Imagine that. Them bringing in the quote-unquote demonic occult figures into the church is actually what they should be doing. Jeremiah 10, learn not the way of the heathen, for the customs of the people are vain. Right? So, the Christian people, they're getting it right now because they're part of the whole jurisdiction that's losing membership right now. Right? Losing membership. Right? Don't be fooled. Only way, only place that you're going to find your salvation is within. Ain't no salvation outside of yourself. Zero salvation outside of yourself. Which leads me to another thing that I saw today at this school that we're at. They have this thing on the wall. First People's Principles of Learning. Not just some stuff on the wall, just in the school. You know what I mean? Like, you think they don't know or think there's an issue? Who's really the one that's sleeping? First People's Principles of Learning. Oh yeah, and keep in mind that this school is named after an ex-Canada Prime Minister and stuff like that. Right? But they got this all up in the school or whatever. Principles of Learning. Learning ultimately supports the well-being of the self, the family, the community, the land, the spirits, and the ancestors. Learning is holistic, reflective, experiential, and relational, focused on connectedness, on reciprocal relationships, and a sense of place. Learning involves recognizing the consequences of one's actions. Learning involves generational roles and responsibilities. Learning recognizes the role of indigenous knowledge. Learning is embedded in memory, history, and story. Learning involves patience and time. Learning requires exploration of one's identity. Learning involves recognizing that some knowledge is sacred and only shared with permission and or in certain situations. Principles of learning. So there might be something that's online. It would be wise to make this a little mantra, print it off, put it on the fridge or something like that, make your children say it every day and all that stuff, give them some, you know, energy to leave the house with, because it's crazy out here. So protect them best you can. So this was just somebody's perspective, if you will. I forgot to write down the site. But there's a couple things in here that you would find interesting. There's an article by Joy A. Sterling called "We Should Unmask Halloween." Joy A. Sterling, "We Should Unmask Halloween." If what this lady said is true, I need to rethink my involvement in Halloween activities. I decided to do some research on my own to see if there was anything to what she was saying. Wow. Was I shocked what I discovered. So it goes into the history of Halloween, you know, Samhain, the history of Samhain, the Druids. We'll go to some things here that he talked about that were kind of interesting. The pathetic paradox of Christians celebrating Halloween. It's no wonder that a one-time witch of our day, Tom Sanguinet, T-O-M-S-A-N-G-U-I-N-E-T, S-A-N-G-U-I-N-E-T, former high priest in the Celtic tradition of Wicca, said Halloween is purely and absolutely evil, and there is nothing we ever have or will do that would make it acceptable to the Lord Jesus. Owen Ratcliffe, R-A-C-H-L-E-F-F, Owen Ratcliffe, amplifies this when he wrote, Halloween can be, and to many is, a deadly serious affair. It originated with pre-Christian Druids or Celts in northern Europe, who marked the year by 4 season festivals. The autumn feast took place November 1st. Early Christians desiring a part in the traditional festivities created All Saints' Day to coincide with the pagan rites. Satanists, acting true to form, reversed the Christian procedure. Because November 1st was All Saints' Day, All Souls' Day, November 2nd memorializes the dead. Satanists established October 31st as All Demons' Night. As surely as the Christian martyrs and saints dominated their holiday, so did the demons permeate the preceding evening. All Hallows' Eve predictability became a time of spells, curses, and horrors for those who did not believe. But for the Satanists, particularly the witches, wise women, it was a joyous festival and major Sabbath. So it remains in a diluted form, ironically celebrated by Christian society far more vigorously than All Saints' Day. Quoted from The Occult Conceit, A New Look at Astrology, Witchcraft, and Sorcery by Owen Ratcliffe. Owen, R-A-C-H-L-E-F-F, Ratcliffe. The Occult Conceit, A New Look at Astrology, Witchcraft, and Sorcery. See all the astrological margins. Historically, Halloween is obviously and totally a pagan, occultic worship day. There is nothing Christian about the day. Pause for a moment. Dig beneath the candy. What is the primary focus of Halloween even in our day? I see a threefold focus. 1. Death. 2. Fear and horror. 3. Evil, the devil, and the occult. There is absolutely no Christian significance to be found in Halloween. Turn your attention to October 1989 issue of the Baptist Bulletin magazine. It reported in the news section a U.S. Air Force physical therapist who says she has been a practicing witch for 4 years, won permission to take Halloween and 7 other days off as religious holidays. Witches, There's one for you. There's one for you, wise woman. Those days when you feel lazy, you can say it's a religious holiday because you're a wise woman. A spokesman at Lakeland Air Force Base in San Antonio said regulations require that Patricia Hutchins be accorded the same freedom to express her religious beliefs as any other religious believer. Now, if they're saying a cult is a religion, right, don't equate that to Pastafarians and other type of BS. People have a colander on their head and stuff like that, talking about, you know, that's their religion, and they have a pasta monster or something like that is their god or something like that. That's some BS, right? But somebody saying that Wicca is their religion, and they're saying, oh yeah, they have the right to, you know, a religious right just like anybody else around here, then no excuses, right? Noble Drawley left us many ways to skin this cat. Many ways. Go religious, go national, you could sue them, you could, many ways. Put all your stuff in a trust. Many ways to stop these people. They're so done. But again, can't be given to you. You have to seek and find. Our people die for a lack of knowledge. So you probably want to get knowledge, a lot of knowledge. If our people die for a lack of knowledge, then why not get knowledge? Is something not registering? Our people die for lack of knowledge. No Drawley said study, study, study. Maybe if you study, 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 you won't die. Because you realize that man is spirit, not the flesh. Just from studying. He was like, hey, Halloween is about honoring the ancestors. Not about candy. Candy. 2 days from now, we could have a bag of candy. Put it in a, hey, let's do that one. Friday, we're going to do the candy. And people look at you weird or whatever. Trick or treat on Friday. No, but today's not the day. What do you mean? How come today's not the day? There's candy out here. There's just candy out here. Why can't it be the day? If trick or treat's about candy and stuff, then every day should be that. The Modern World of Witchcraft by Craig S. Hawkins. The Modern World of Witchcraft. Craig S. Hawkins. Witches and Satanists love Halloween. They get a lot of media coverage around that time of year. It's good PR for them. That coverage usually portrays them in a favorable light. In addition, it generates interest in quote-unquote the craft and is good for recruitment purposes. As Craig Hawkins puts it, with increasing vigor, witchcraft is coming out of the broom closet. Many witches are actively seeking public understanding and acceptance. Many witches, right, this is for all those sisters out there who are waking up to intuition, clairvoyance, astrology, tarot cards. Look at somebody, read them, touch somebody, heal them, and you don't know what's going on. It's because you're a witch. It's because you're a wise woman. The Drawley was holding you like this. Right? Because you were unconscious. You weren't wise. You were a Negro. Negro woman, sleeping Negro woman. That he brought you your nationality and birthrights and activated something in you. And what it activated was your storm, controlling the elements, activated your Wonder Woman. No, not the movie, Karen White, Superwoman. Right? Brought you out of your dormant state. Brought you on the solid rock of salvation for you to exercise your will as the wise woman. And then when you do your research on witches, Salem is always going to come up. Always, always. So you just put witches, Salem's going to come up. When Salem comes up, then you realize that that's Salam. Realize we're talking about the Salem witch burnings were really the Moabitesses that they were burning. The wise women who were the matriarchs, who really ruled. Council of Elders was women. Council of Elders. The ones who you're going to go bring the stuff to, and then they're going to say, okay, come back in 5 moons. And then when you go back, they give you an answer. Okay, the wise women, the witches. Many witches are actively seeking public understanding and acceptance. Right? Because you know, sis, ever since you were a little girl or whatever, you know that might be no carpet under you, but you touch something and then you get the shock stuff. You know. You know. You know that you could be with your man and see another sister checking your man and she's not even looking at your man. You know. And it has to be accepted that you're a witch. It has to be accepted that you're a wise woman. Because, Drew already told you study. And then once you study and apply what's studied, and then over a time, that repetitive gaining of knowledge and applying it makes you have wisdom. Remember, Drew Ali said that new Moors, he didn't say male only. New Moors are going to come with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. Seeing and knowing. How many? And sisters, be honest with yourself, right? Be honest with yourself about things happening that are supernatural to you. Things happening that are supernatural to you. That, you don't want to tell nobody because they're not going to understand. And the modern world of witchcraft. You don't have to seek public understanding and acceptance. Fact is, you're a witch. That's why you have those powers. Your son's telling you. Trust that. You're a witch. You're a wise woman. You think you have the baby hairs, and then you have the hair on your forearms right here, nowhere else, they just got hair on your forearms right here. That's signs of witch, where we come from. And where we come from, majority of sisters, it's not, you know, a beard, but they might have a one hair there, 2 hairs or something like that. Because they're witches. One might come in and they pluck it out, you know what I mean? Because it's not feminine. Yeah, it's powers though. Trust that. Trust that. Where we come from, you got the baby hair, sideburns and stuff like that, you're a witch. You're the girl who everybody knows. When you go outside, don't play with because that girl mother does do the and they just cut off the chicken head and thing and leave that girl alone. And then she ain't care about none of that BS. But she did supernatural stuff though. Did do supernatural stuff. Tell you where stuff was that you don't know where stuff is that you put somewhere. You know, there was some cool stuff that happened with the witch. As children, that by the time 7, 8 lost all their powers. Everything gone. Just because. Condemning her because she knows how to do stuff. How do you out the candle from over there? Know how to do stuff. So, you know, not only are we, you know, invoking the spirits, you know, ancestral, but also the ones within, especially for, you know what I mean? Especially for humanity. To know that this ain't 1913 anymore. You know, nobody bringing you out of anything right now. You're on the solid rock of salvation right now. You're on it now. This is not you anymore, sis, mother. This is not you anymore. There's ones of you that are like this still. But if you know about your nationality and birthrights, you're not Negro, black, colored, this is not you anymore. You're past this. You're standing on your square. Again, where it comes in that once the matriarch gets it, once sis accept the fact that, shit, yeah, I'm actually a witch or whatever. Watch stuff change tomorrow. Tomorrow. A Milwaukee County park worker contacted me in 1989. He told me of finding numerous remains of small animals that had been sacrificed in area parks around Halloween. It was clear that these sacrifices were occult related because the remains were associated with either an altar, inside a circle, triangle, or pyramid structure. That's not all. While deer hunting in Marinette County, Wisconsin, I came across the remains of a bull that had been sacrificed with a stone circle. It is almost certain that this was part of a Halloween ritual sacrifice performed by a satanic group. Now, one thing about these, this thing about sacrificing, right? One thing about sacrificing. When they start, remember that it's a fear campaign to get Christians, who majority of them Negro, black, colored people, because European ain't no Christian, to get these people away from their stuff, their ancestral things that they should be tied to, right? So they don't know about the Druids, but they know about, you know what I mean, trick or treat, and we can do candy. Right? They're like missing the point. Whether they're Christian or not, irrelevant. Right? A ritual, if there's a demonic entity, ain't no way that some cow blood or bat blood or rabbit blood or whatever is going to be better than human blood if you're doing some satanic ritual. They start talking about chickens and stuff like that. These are low-level people, because ain't no demonic whatever going to be dealing with some chicken, some rat blood. Yeah, just bring 20 rat blood, squirt them over here, and then I'll grant you everything. What the hell is doing with that? Right? Satanic groups and whatever. Remember, satanic whatever has a 5-point star. Pentagram. That's Moorish. Ain't no Satan, nothing. Baphomet's a Moor. Disguised as, you know what I mean, whatever it is, goat head guy. I ain't no guy. Ain't nothing like that. No. What do they say? The native is the red man, right? What color they make the devil? Red. Who's the real natives? Us. So the devil is the black man. Then you look how those people who call themselves black act. He told me that they're not the devil. You find any brother with baby mama drama, tell me that she's not the devil. You find any sister with, you know what I mean, baby daddy drama, tell me that he's not the devil. Right? All states of being. Origin of costumes. How did the practice of wearing costumes at Halloween develop? The early origin of costume is repulsive. On the eve of October 31st, the Druids, who were the occultic priests and teachers of the Celts, ordered the people to put out their hearth fires. The Druids built a huge New Year's bonfire of oak branches, which they considered sacred. They burned animals, crops, and human beings as sacrifices to their sun god Makola and Samhain, their god of death. During this diabolical ceremony, the people wore costumes made of animal heads and skins. They then practiced divination, looked for omens in the struggle of the victims sacrificed in the fires, jumped over the flames or dashed through them dancing as they danced and sang. All of this was done to frighten the evil spirits away. Now, they have a god of death. They have a god of death. Now remember, these people are high priests or whatever, but they have a god of death, and they're giving sacrifices to the god of death to help them get away the evil spirits when they're high priests. They're high priests. Ain't no high priests out there don't know how to get rid of evil spirits. Remember, this is a high priest. Not just intellectual or whatever. This is a high priest. They deal with demons and evil spirits. They deal with demons and evil spirits. The high priest. How they need to give sacrifices for some god to help them get rid of evil spirits. BS. Again, just take the doo-doo and just smear it on the more stuff. Right? Man, Myth, and Magic. Page 68. The geysers went from house to house, singing and dancing. Their blood-curdling masks and grotesque costumes may have been meant to keep evil at bay, or more likely were visible representations of the ghosts and goblins that lurked in the night. In the 11th edition of Encyclopedia Britannica, Volume 12, page 8578, it states, it was the Druids' belief that on the eve of this festival, November 1st, Samhain, Lord of Death, called together the wicked souls that within the past 12 months had been condemned to inhabit the bodies of animals. Samhain would send these evil spirits to attack people on the eve before November 1st celebration. The only way these people could escape was by assuming disguises and looking like evil spirits themselves. It seems to me that these quote-unquote evil spirits must have been stupid spirits if they could be fooled by such a masquerade. Sadly, the fools were the superstitious idol worshippers who refused to glorify the true God. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. These people are messed in dead. Right? Alright, so the real meaning of Halloween. Ghosts and goblins, witches and broomsticks, pumpkins, candy, and spiderwebs. It's that time of year again. Halloween, probably every child's favorite holiday, combining the irresistible attractions of dressing up in costume and gorging on candy. But there's a deeper spiritual meaning that underlines the holiday for the pagans and real witches. Shout out to the mothers again, the wise women. Those who follow earth-based goddess traditions that predate Christianity. As we in the northern hemisphere move into the time of cold and dark of winter, we celebrate our new year and honor both death and regeneration. In northern Europe, Samhain, the Celtic term for Halloween, pronounced Samhain as in sour, was the time when the cattle were moved from the summer pastures to winter shelter. It was the end of the growing season, the end of harvest, a time of thanksgiving, when the ancestors and the spirits of the beloved dead would return home to share in the feast. Death did not sever one's connection with the community. People would leave offerings of food and drink for their loved ones and set out candles to light their way home. Those traditions gave us many of our present-day customs. Now we set out jack-o'-lanterns and give offerings of candy to children, who are, after all, the ancestors returning in new forms. Death and regeneration are always linked in goddess theology. Birth, growth, death, and renewal are a cycle that plays over and over again through natural systems and human lives. Embracing this cycle, we don't need to fear death, but instead see it as a stage of life and a gateway to some new form of being. So Samhain is a time to remember and honor those who have died, to celebrate their lives and appreciate their gifts, to tell stories about them to the next generation so their memory will not be lost. In Latino cultures, Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, on November 2nd is a time to visit the graves of loved ones, to feast there and honor their memory with altars and prayers. We set up altars in our homes with pictures and mementos, and in my house we like to invite friends and family to an ancestral dinner where we cook traditional foods and share our family stories. Samhain is also a time of deep spiritual work. At this time of year, we say, the veil is thin that divides the worlds, and seen from the unseen, the day-to-day from the mysteries. In San Francisco, the Reclaiming tradition of Wicca sponsors a big public ritual where we celebrate the renewal and creativity that emerges from the dark, with elaborate altars, dance, music, culminating in a spiral danced by more than 1,000 people that honors the energies of rebirth and renewal. Halloween and our traditions are much misunderstood. This year, when you hand out candy or shepherd your children through the streets, we invite you, oh that's mean, shepherd your children. We invite you to remember the deep meaning of the holiday, that death is no barrier to love, and every ending brings a new beginning. And you can look up Raising Children in Goddess Tradition by Starhawk, Ann Hill, and Diane Baker. Circle Round, Raising Children in Goddess Tradition, Starhawk, Ann, A-N-N-E, Hill, and Diane Baker. And the Pagan Book of Living and Dying. The Pagan Book of Living and Dying, Starhawk and Macha Nightmare. M-A-C-H-A, Nightmare. The Pagan Book of Living and Dying. And the last book, The Spiral Dance, A Rebirth of the Ancient Religion of the Great Goddess. The Spiral Dance, A Rebirth of the Ancient Religion of the Great Goddess by Starhawk. And you can go to starhawk.org if you want any more where that came from. So, let's see what the question scene is saying. Brother sent a video. You can check out the truth about slavery and the corrupt Columbus, Georgia government. The truth about slavery and the corrupt Columbus, Georgia government on YouTube. I think that might be a Bill Bunting video. Bill goes in. Sister Miriam Bay. Islam familiar. I trust this email finds you doing well. I have some questions, or rather concepts I have that may be accurate or may need some correction, clarifications. What I gather from the article is basically the Brits had shut down a large amount of trade to the North American colonies, putting America in sort of financial hardship. We could say putting United States in hardship, because it wasn't America. that has the debt. America has the issues. America was the government. None of that had to do with the Europeans. So, you know, like, especially when you're looking at around at that time, you're talking about, you know, Europeans literally having nothing here. You know what I mean? Everything they're getting is, you know, they're going and talk with the little one or two quote-unquote natives that they can engage and get, you know what I mean, certain things or whatever. Due to all these acts, Boston Port Act, Massachusetts Government Act, Quebec Act, to me it comes across like basically a takeover. Brings in the start of the American Revolution. The English and the British are pretty much in bed together and go about pushing the practice of Catholic Church on the people, who are often referred to as American subjects. And then remember, American is the copper-colored natives who were in this land before European got here. Question regarding the Quebec Act. The province's territory was expanded to take over part of the Indian Reserve, including much of what is now southern Ontario, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, and parts of Minnesota. I copied this above quote from Wikipedia. Is Indian Reserve in reference to Morris territory? No, Indian Reserve is always relative to the jurisdictions that after these fake Indians signed the treaties to say that European could do something or go somewhere or whatever, which were really fake treaties, and the Europeans railroaded everybody based on these clowns making these fake treaties, right? Those people got put on a reserve. Those individuals who worked with them, right? Part of the deal was they're going to have to live on a reserve if they get their casino and if they get all the BS it is that they wanted, as far as the chiefs. Because remember, all the chiefs sold out. The quote-unquote Indians, their chiefs sold them out. The same stuff that we're dealing with. It's the same thing. Like when we talk to natives who aren't chiefs, they'll tell you that the chief sold out. They'll tell you that the chief has a house somewhere up north or whatever like that. He has a Benz with a chauffeur driving him around and all that stuff. That's the quote-unquote Indian chief, as far as out here. Like, it's not a thing like they don't know that that the chief sold them out. They know. But they also know that the quote-unquote government ain't going to help them either. So, you know what I mean? But that's what was a reserve. Right? And then the one for the other Indians that they don't call Indians, they call black, their reserve is called ghetto and hood and block. And, you know, Section 8, Metro Housing, Toronto Housing. Right? Those are the reserves where those people are at. You know, and then in those reserves they might have, you know, Europeans in there, you know, people who come from other countries in there, war-torn people that come from somewhere, let's throw them in there too, because that's how they get away. Create jurisdictions and then have people think that the jurisdiction that they just created is the land. When that's just some stuff on paper that they did. You know. Are these acts related to Boston Tea Party and or the Whiggamore Party? But when you're once you're talking about something contrary to the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, you're dealing with the you know, European element that inserted themselves and started doing the whole corporate thing and took over what was supposed to be something that, you know, kept Europeans at bay. Like literally 13 colonies. You guys stay there. Whoever you have here, that's who you got here. You know what I mean? Like, because you guys not going to be extending past. Like that's where you're at, right? Obviously, you know, our infighting created them being able to expand. But as soon as you're talking about, anytime you're talking about acts or whatever, you're dealing with the policies of Inquisition, policies of Treaty of Verona, policies of papal bulls, papal edicts, anything having to do with making sure that the idea of people having rights not being in the mind of the people. Have everything else on their mind except what their rights are. Everything. Everything else could be talked about. Don't be talking about rights with these people. You start talking about rights, then you have to start talking about constitutions. If you start talking about constitutions, then you can't talk about acts anymore, because none of those have the power of the Constitution. Right? So, you know, the acts might not be directly related to these parties, but the idea of pushing that agenda of acts would be people who are not in harmony with what the supreme law of the land is. Constitutional psychopathic inferiority. Constitutional psychopathic inferiority. Look that up in the law dictionary. You know, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, maybe 5th it might be in. Right? Constitutional psychopathic inferiority. There's a reason. There's a reason. Right? Now, the last one. Sister Bookworm. Question: can you explain the ritual of the spooky dress up and deathlight cast that Halloween has? Why candy? I mean, from what we're reading, the understanding is the whole dressing up like the spooky is so that when the spirits come, they don't think that you're somebody for them to go after. So they'll pass you. Right? The evil spirits are not going to consider you if you look like them. Or, you know, ghouls or whatever. And then in the second article they were bringing up, well, you know, that's some dumbass spirits or whatever. If they're falling for you wearing some mask or whatever, that you're, you know, like what kind of spirit are you? You see dumbass wearing a mask. You pass him to go for somebody over there. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go over there because I didn't see anything. That's just ghouls and monsters over there. I'm just gonna go over here. Oh, there's a vampire over there. You know, it's bright outside, but there's a vampire over there. What kind of stupid spirits are those? So, The candy part, we already know that that's just so that, you know, children could get cavities or whatever like that, lose all their teeth, right? Fill them up with sugar and, you know what I mean, acidic stuff, keep them bones weak, you know what I mean? You know, you just mess you up, you know what I mean? All that sugar or whatever will mess you up. So that's why candy, personally, I don't know, I never really checked why candy, but, you know, because once you get the children and the parents are in, like, you know, it's a win-win. It's a win-win. Because they're going out to get candy and parents are buying candy. Right? People who are giving out candy bought, parents are buying. You know, just to be down with the, you know, the hoopla. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, the underlying thing that we have to remember is that it's we were these pagans that they're talking about. So it wasn't some, you know, they say Stonehenge and then we start thinking about some Europeans because today they honor our stuff more than we honor it. So we think it's theirs. No, it ain't theirs. We just need to get back on our stuff, but from the correct perspective. What is the importance of Halloween? The dates. It's not what people are doing or whatever. The dates is what's important. Why the dates? Because that's astrology. Right? So once it's looked at from the right perspective, there's nothing wrong with Halloween. Right? Just like we're saying, in other cultures, they're gonna go by the graveyard, set up the tables or whatever like that, have a meal with the ancestors. That's what they do. They don't go around do trick or treat and all that stuff. That's just not what they do. I mean, other people, they go, they, you know, get the you know, the cow, the goat, whatever, cut the head, put it in a circle, and then that's what they do. They're not dressing up, you know, costume to go do anything. So it's realizing that we have certain cultures that other people have adopted, now almost like claimed it as their own, because they added so much of their own stuff to it now that it's not really what it used to be. You know what I mean? And we're the only ones that can pull it back to what it used to be. Because really it's our stuff, just like we were saying with, you know what I mean? Like there's a very high vibration right now of sisters getting into the astrology and all that. You know what I mean? Reiki, you know, like holistic health and things like that. Like, it's something that has picked up steam. It's just that the sisters aren't looking at it like it's their stuff. They're looking at it like how they're taking the brother's perspective, that some school of thought thing. You know what I mean? Like, Moors know that it's not a school of thought, it's life, it's culture. They're embracing their culture by studying these things, occult, astrology, whatever. It's their culture, right? Remember, when we talk, it's not for Moors. Moors already got this. It's really for unconscious people who realize certain things and they're trying to catch up. We're trying to warp speed you to where we're at, so you can get this perspective and start doing something now that you know. Even though man knows not by being told, we're telling you to warp speed you to where everybody else is at, because you're way down there. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put on binoculars to see us waving. Well, you know, when you go like this, then you're actually where we're at. Binoculars not needed anymore. The portal was the binoculars. You thought you were looking through binoculars, but it was really a portal. So all these things that we're dealing with is for, you know, Morris to be inspired, but for unconscious people to, because, you know, trust me, every week voicemail's full. You know what I mean? Always getting emails. Always some more say, oh yes, somebody just, I want to send them to somebody, you know, properly. I don't want to send them to nobody that's messed up. Right? You know, and it's not new. It's been going on, people waking up or whatever. Right? But you know, everything's changing. Yeah, we can wake up, but it's different. It's different. Right? So, and again, this is not a thing of it's not a thing of like when we come into nationality and then, you know what I mean, grab everybody by the head and force this down their throat or whatever. Right? This is just the position that we take. But if they want to know more, they'll say, hey, I wanted to know about whatever, and then you could impart some knowledge on it. But all you gotta do is just state your position. That's all it is. You know what I mean? You know, hey, how come you're not in the costume? No, I don't really celebrate Halloween like that. You know, I just give honors to my ancestors on this day. Oh, it's interesting. What's your religion and all that stuff? And you know, and conversation will start from them wanting to know, not me divulging info that I don't really have to divulge, because you know, if they don't want to know, me telling them ain't gonna do nothing for them. It's not gonna do nothing for them. It's just in one ear, out the other ear. They don't care. Just convo. Right? Is this day the Europeanized version of our Moorish holiday? I wouldn't say the day is a Europeanized version. The exercise of the activities is a European version. The day's been ancient. The day is not changing. The day didn't create the day. The day's been around before them. Right? This day. Right? December 25th been around before they said Jesus' birthday and all that. Right? So it's the practice that's quote unquote Europeanized, modern Europeanized. It's not the actual day that they're doing the thing on. You know what I mean? And you know, doing the research on the day. You know, what's the significance of that day? What has happened in history on this day? Try back as far as you can go back. As far as there's a calendar that say these days on it. Like what was going on? 18 whatever on this day. October 31st. What happened? No one will give you, you know, a timeline. What happened? There's probably going to be some significant things that happened on that day. You know, meetings, things like that. People, you know, doing whatever it is that the day calls for. Because remember, you know, majority of people have some type of knowledge of the inner workings. You know what I mean? So they know that certain days you don't do certain stuff. That's just what it is. It's something that's traditional. That's been passed on. Not just pick this up right now. Right? Something that's been in the culture. It's been in the culture so long. Right? That is normal to some people. Things aren't normal to us. We're just finding out about libation and stuff like that. We're just finding out about altars and ancestral worship and stuff like that. I mean, majority of us 10, 15, 20 years ago, we were Negro. We're out here doing madness out here. You know? Yeah, we got 2 arms, 2 legs, head, brain, and all that stuff, but we're out here doing madness. Thinking crazy. You know? Now we came into the marvelous light. You know, everything's different. Everything's looked at different. Whole perspective's gonna change about everything. Just because it has to. Because we're starting to realize that, damn, everything is really our stuff. It ain't even like they hid it. You know what is it? Yeah, the European, you know, you have the black man talk. Yeah, Europeans stole our culture, they took our stuff away. I can't believe they took all our stuff. Well, it's not really taken. You know, they just call it something different. Instead of Samhain, they said Halloween. They were chasing Halloween instead of, you know, checking where did Halloween come from. Samhain. Oh, okay. What's Samhain? Oh, Samhain is when these people called the Druids or whatever, and then they used to, you know, give honors. And that's what it was. So could we still do candy? No, you can't do candy. No more candy. Candy's done. Bring some fruits and vegetables or something like that. You know, light a candle. You know, burn some sage. There's many things to do. You know, to give honors. And then remember again, just like, you know, when they say with Black History Month, you know, I'm black more than a month, you guys can't do that because I'm black 365 days. Alright, same thing. You know, how they adopt that concept, every day is Halloween. Every day we're going to give honors. On this day, we're going to go real hard. But every day, it's honors. Has to be. Cannot give them honors after Halloween. I mean, just that one day, that's it. Or just on Valentine's Day, that's the only day that you love your girl or whatever. After that, forget it. Forget all that love BS, only Valentine's Day, that's it. That's the only day you're getting any love. There ain't no reality. So, honor them. You know what I mean? Build your shrine. Doesn't matter, it's yours. So you and your ancestors. Do your own ritual. You don't need anybody's ritual with your ritual. Do your own ritual. Dig deep. Dig deep, dig deep, and create your own altar. Visualize it. Go into meditation. Ask your higher self. Ask yourself, what should the altar look like? And then higher self is going to give you something. Guaranteed. Once you trust the message that's being relayed, then it is. If you have doubt, then it won't be. It's just like that. Right? It's just like that. So, it looks like that was it. We want to, once again, give honors to all the ancestral forces. You know, supreme honors to all the ancestral forces. I mean, we give supreme thanks for, you know, the protection and the guidance and everything else that, you know, you've been blessing us with. You know what I mean? From all the Moors, we want to give thanks to the ancestors. We also want to give thanks to all the Moors worldwide for sticking true to the principles and doing their best to uplift our people. All those Moors who's doing that, they already know that they're doing that. You know what I mean? And lastly, of course, we have to give a big shout out to Prophet Noble Drew Ali for the illustrious work that he did in bringing us back into our correct mindset. Bringing us back into our correct mindset so that we can start thinking better, so we can start acting better. So Islam to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, honors to him, honors to all the Moors that were in attendance today. We'll be live again on Sunday. Don't forget, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open. Tonight, Blog Talk Radio, 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899 and 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201. Peace and love, Moors. We'll just close out. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Ashe. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Come on in, brother. Come on in, brother. Bless. Have a seat, brother. Have a seat. Ah, yes. Come on in, brother. Welcome. Bless. Have a seat right there. Hey. Brother, bless. Have a seat, bro. Welcome, bless. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. You guys ready to make some money?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Ready to make some money?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's get to work. All right, man. You get your birth certificates, man. You get a bunch of money from that, man. You know what I'm saying? You get your bonds, tons of money, man. You know what I'm saying? You want to get flex like this. You want to be good, man. You want to be flossing. Get your fur coats on, right? You got this over here, right here. Just ignore all that right there. You know, over here, right here. This is what it's all about, man. It's all about the dollar signs. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the money. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the dollar signs. At the end of the day, it's all about the money.
So, SGK, how soon can I get my money after we do this?
I have 10 grandchildren, you know. I need lots of money.
Hey, since this is so foolproof, can I get an advance? I got some stuff to take care of. I need the money.
Hold up. Disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
2 weeks going on 3, I gave him a G. Said with these papers I could be sovereign and free like popes and King Henry. Sipping on Henny and pigs' faces, no matter the places. Travel rights, days and nights, cash in bonds on birth certs. Didn't tell me that birth is ERTH, bottomry benefits of instruments.
It's all about the money. Trust me, you go with this and you'll get the money. If you don't believe me, ask my student right here.
Pissed off, will break his wrists off. Dirty Moors got me wanna cut lips off and teeth chipped off. Dirty thief using me to go through windows. Probably took my fiat and bought Indo and Kush. Off the roof I would push.
SGK.
Yes, sir.
Justice, no love.
How come Noble Drew Ali is not on the board?
No reply from emails. He stopped tweeting, but he's giving details on trust and executive status. Dialing the number, got my fingers callous. Dirty Moor packets selling cheaters. Rob you with no conscience, cognizant, not sleepers. And well aware, that's motive local. Plus they changed the corporate name and logo.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again. We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
They still on the fiat hustle and the bustle. Got cats in the bag like ruffles, airtight. Use fair fright, martial law hype. If you
I'll give you 50%
send a kite.
Alright, you know what? I'll tell them
Not even, get wise with the quickness, ability, quickly nimble, won't stumble or tremble. Finding out I got played like cymbals. Dirty Moors selling you your own Morris symbols and crystals. no different than trees and reeds and toes missile. Drew Ali said study, 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 so you don't get enslaved or played by your own buddy. Giving money to a gold digging dummy, state hopping dirty malls, rob you out your dirty drawers. Souls perfect in fools' bodies, setting up a PayPal smiling broad. Those types don't even know what's coming, cause when I see them, it's expose time, no running, no gunning. I was told get wise, dirty people giving weasel evil eyes. Picking up the cell to call, I get nervous, cause I know what's up after I heard this.
We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again. We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
You gotta dish out.
Oh, this is yours? This is all yours?
For sure. Who else is it?
Keep coating.
Jeez. I need to get me some of that right now, man. Yo, SGK, hook me up.
Bro, I got all this first day. I'm just saying, not first day today, but next day.